This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in today's episode, it's a 2-for-1. At least the way that I'm sort of thinking about the idea for this particular episode are places that you can do dinner and a show at many different price points and all on the same property. So the really idea behind this was how can I get to do two things, especially like planning wise, that don't require lots of travel. So it may require travel to get there from the hotel that you're staying at, but it's once you're there, everything is encapsulated in that one area or somewhat walkable. So that's really the idea behind this episode. I'll be highlighting some restaurants and shows or showrooms that I think are great for anniversaries, first times to Vegas, casual nights out, and a couple different price points. So that's going to be coming up on this episode. It's the 1-2 dinner and show episode here on Concierge Confidential. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So I really like this idea just because whenever I go out, I tend to like to go out on the strip, especially when I used to be a concierge, do dinner and a show. Granted, I was not paying for some of the shows that I had to go to, but it's okay. I've done it before where I paid for both, but maybe just for the discount. But I typically like to do dinner and a show just because it feels like sort of something that you do. So let's go ahead and start with I'm going to have like a couple different price points for this. So essentially we're going to have the affordable price point, and then we're going to have sort of like in the middle. And then we're also going to have like an anniversary or something high end at that point. And I'll probably highlight a couple different ones, maybe more or less, depending on which topic we're talking about. Okay, so let's go and talk about the first one. This, what I would say, would be our most affordable option, where you get the most bang for your buck, and it's not super duper expensive. So we'll start by going to the Link Promenade specifically, which is the long walkway where they have the big giant high roller, they have the zip line, all that fun stuff. And the restaurant that I would like to highlight, because there's many on this particular street, is Flour and Barley. So Flour and Barley is an Italian restaurant. It's very casual. They make wood-fired pizzas. They do calamari. They can do wings. So very much approachable and very casual. And yes, you could just walk in. You don't always need a reservation to dine here. The nice thing is they do have an indoor and outdoor option. It's right in the heart of the Link Promenade, where you can actually see the little fountain structure they have there. It's also right next to the In-N-Out, which is always nice. Next to Brooklyn Bowl. It's next to Tilted Kilt, which usually has lots of people at it. So it's right across from the American bar. So there's really lots of things in this one little space that I think can be really fun just to people watch. I've eaten there a couple times, and I think most of the times I sit outside, where you actually do get a great view of just people walking by, great people watching option, and the food is actually quite good. And it's really nice because everything is very shareable. You can actually do pasta here as well, but I mean, you can share that as well. But really, I would say pizzas are what you're going here for, and then like apps and stuff to sort of share. But what I like about it, it's open for lunch and dinner, so it's very flexible. And from there, you can go to many different things. You can actually you can walk up and down the promenade. They usually have live singers out there. They also have many bars that you can go to. So you can end up going to the American bar. You can go to the Ice Bar that's right next door to it. You can also go to Brooklyn Bowl if you end up going to like one of their events. Sometimes they have bands that will come in, and it's very much like an old school like Palladium. So it's a lot of standing room, and sometimes they'll have like silent discos. Sometimes they'll have bands like Taking Back Sunday or something of that nature. They also Brooklyn Bowl does have a bowling alley, but that's not really why you go to Brooklyn Bowl. But really, really popular. And then from there, you can also go into any of the casinos in that area. So you can end up going into the Flamingo. You can end up going into the Link Promenade, O'Shea's, which is really, really fun, especially if you want to have like more of an affordable night out. They have $5 beers there, domestic. And really what I wanted to highlight was that if you do eat at Flour and Barley, it is a very easy walk to the High Roller, which is a major attraction on that promenade. The High Roller itself is open from 10 o'clock in the morning until usually about 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning as well. So a long day for those workers. But from there, you're able to get views of the Strip, obviously, but it's about a 30-minute ride. And if you really wanted to, in terms of, continuing the party, they do have their happy hour or happy half hour bar car that does have a bar inside of the cabin with you. Obviously, you do share with other people. That's the same for if you go in the cabin without a bar car. But obviously, it just doesn't have the bar inside. But I do think that it's definitely worth it, especially if you're looking to do something that's affordable, that does feel like it's sort of a planned event. I would recommend you purchase tickets for the High Roller ahead of time, because from here, if you purchase them online or on your phone, there is an expedited line that you get to skip when you're going into the High Roller itself. It's really important to note, like when you're going and what time of the year, because sometimes you can actually purchase the daytime ticket and get sort of a sunset nighttime ride. So just make sure you go online and see where the cutoff is, so it'll be noted. So like usually, especially like if we're getting into sort of the fall months where it gets darker earlier, where you can actually buy, like if it says, nighttime is after 5 o'clock, you can end up purchasing a, 4:30 ticket. And the thing is once you get your 4:30 tickets scanned, you can go up. There's sort of a bar in the middle where you can sort of just hang out for a little while. And then when the time is right, you go up into the actual loading dock area and then get onto the ride and you can hit the sunset. So what I would do, I would check and see when sunset is, because I think sunset is the best time to see the strip, just because you get sort of day and nighttime. But you check and see what time sunset is. You purchase your ticket like 30 minutes before the actual nighttime tickets start. And with that, sorry, I keep choking up here. And with that, then you're able to get sort of that nighttime view at a daytime price. So that is my little insider tip for you guys for riding the High Roller. So yeah, there you go. So that's one of the more affordable options. I'm going to go and do one that's maybe a step above that. And I want to say MGM Grand. MGM Grand is actually a great location if you want to have dinner and a show, just because they have many shows on property. It's one of the largest properties on the Strip, and it has a lot of shows to choose from, and they're very, very different. So, and many, many restaurants as well, and it's quite diverse. I know sometimes I don't have the nicest things to say about MGM Grand just because I used to work there, so I was there all the time. So sometimes when you're around something for so long, you tend to have sort of a jaded view of it, but many different places to choose from here. So what I would recommend if you ended up going to MGM Grand, or staying near that area, which is nice because it's connected to the New York, is go to MGM Grand. You dine at Lucchini, which Lucchini is a fantastic American, Italian-American restaurant. Very like New York, very much like Italiano from New York City. I have to say that because a lot of restaurants in town want to be authentic Italian. But yeah, I would say Lucchini is more Italian-American cuisine. They're very large portions. It's very much to share. But I know that I've already like highlighted an Italian restaurant on here, but the reason that I wanted to talk about this is just because it is one of those places that is quite nice. They built it very nicely on the inside. It's a nice little build out. I would also recommend this is really good for large parties just because of the size of the portions and the size of the menu, to be completely honest. But again, we're trying to be in the more approachable, affordable range, but something that you're not going to get, back home. But if you wanted to step it up, totally fine, totally get it. We have many other restaurants in that area. What I would recommend, if you really want to try something a little bit nicer, I love craft steak. I always love to recommend craft steak at MGM whenever I can. To me, it's one of the best restaurants on property, and I love their menu too, just because other than having great selections of meat, it's also a great place for, makes no sense, vegans and vegetarians, just because of the just mind-blowing sides that they have. I think are actually really fantastic. They're really fresh, and I think they have a lot of choices, and they're, it's delicious. So I would recommend craft steak if you don't want to do Lucchini, and then from there, you can go, and of course you can always try other places like Hakkasan. You could try the Pub, which is more of like a standard sort of bar and grill, and then obviously they have the Greek Sneak, which is more vegan, vegetarian options, and they have Crush as well, which is also good for anybody who's vegan. But again, I'm trying to give you very, very focused thoughts, so I'm going with Lucchini at the moment, and then from there It is a short walk to Ka, which I consider one of the better Cirque shows. That is one of the only ones that you can catch in Las Vegas, and I definitely think it's worth it. Another cool thing is that they usually have a lot of deals for Ka, so that's why I always like to recommend it, just because you're able to come in. You can usually book ahead of time, obviously, but you usually are able to find pretty good discounts for that particular show. And honestly, I've seen Ka, I think, maybe 4 or 5 times, and I think that it is really great for a first-timer, especially if you want to see sort of the big, over-the-top spectacle of a Las Vegas show. I think Ka will really pull it off. And again, it's one of the 2 shows in Vegas that does not travel. You're not able to see Ka, or O for that matter, in other cities, or it actually can't be in other places because of the stage build for that show. So Ka and Lucchini are the 2 places I recommend for the MGM Grand. And again, these are just starting points. If you want to start with the show and then find the restaurant, by all means, be my guest. If you don't want to do Ka, they also have Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, which is a great comedy club, especially if you want to do something that's a little bit more casual, maybe not as expensive as something like, say, Ka. They do have Jabberwockies. I'm not a huge fan of Jabberwockies. I've seen them in actually 3 different theaters, and I think when their theater was at the Luxor, it was the best, and I actually don't enjoy the theater for Jabberwockies at MGM Grand, just because it used to be the old Crazy Girl showroom, and there are some like blind spots in that showroom. I'm not a huge fan of their showroom in particular. They also have Tape Face, but that's a new thing. Haven't seen Tape Face. Wasn't a huge fan of like him on America's Got Talent, so I can't recommend it sort of off the top of my head. So moving on, if you go over, and let's just sort of step our game up. So now we're going to get into the medium to higher end dinner and show options. Let's go back down to Caesars. So Caesars, we're going to be looking for a place that is going to match up with the show we're talking about, which is Absinthe. Absinthe is honestly the best show in Las Vegas. If you're not counting residencies, this is strictly a production show. This is probably the best one. It's very Vegas. It's very adult. It has acrobatics in it. It does have hilarious comedians inside of this show. But the thing is, they're not just comedians who come out and do comedy. They're actually like these actual characters that are built out to be, over the top, and the gazillionaire, and they're great. The Green Fairy, they're absolutely fantastic. I love them, and it's also cool that the show changes essentially weekly. You'd never really know what show you're going to get that time, especially if you've seen it multiple times, which makes it worth it to come back and revisit over and over and over again. So, Absinthe at Caesars is the show that we're going to be talking about. The show tickets for that show tend to range between $120 and up. So yes, it could be a very expensive show, but again, we're building out a nice evening to go see these things. So we have Absinthe, which is in the big top out in front of Caesar's Palace. So let's go back inside of Caesar's Palace. We're not going to tell you to go to Hell's Kitchen because that's a little too easy and actually disingenuous because it's very hard to get a reservation at Hell's Kitchen. It's honestly one of the 2 places in town that are essentially impossible to get a reservation. You can eat there. I'm not saying it's impossible. You can't eat there, but really hard for like those prime times, like 8 o'clock at night. It's hard to find a reservation for Hell's Kitchen. So let's go back inside. Many great options. They've added a few good ones, and they've changed some stuff around. So we'll talk about a few of them. So let's go ahead and talk with one of my favorite sort of fun choices. This is going to be a very expensive evening if you end up going to Absinthe, but if you end up going to Stanton Social is very funky, very loud. Not loud, sorry. Very funky, very eclectic on the inside. It very much matches the vibes of Absinthe itself. And they have a lot of stuff that it's very like carnival circusy on the inside. At least that's the sort of motif. They have a lot of stuff to share. They also have very like interesting twists on classics. Like they have these French onion soup bites, which actually are like on a stick, and it's very, very unique. And my mom actually had that; she loved it. They also have really good steaks. They have really good cocktails on the inside as well. And I think it's a really fun option if you want to do that. They also have Bobby Flay's Brasserie, or Bobby's Brasserie, which is supposed to be like a French bistro, which is nice. It sort of has that feel of sort of just a step up from being, a cafe or something more casual, but it's not quite all the way to the verge of getting us to like a steakhouse. It's very much in between. Very approachable menu. Steak frites is what they're known for. They have burgers, obviously, but they have fish. It's very much a very approachable menu at Bobby Flay's Brasserie. I would also recommend, if you're trying to do something that's a little bit more affordable in terms of the restaurant, because you have to pay for the tickets for absinthe, would highly recommend Water Grill. Water Grill, which is located at the entrance of the Forum Shops from the casino. It's when you walk in, it'll be on your right-hand side. It is seafood in terms of the cuisine that they serve. Very fresh. They have all the different types of shellfish, oysters, clams. All that stuff is actually on display for you. They also have lobster on the menu, of course, and crab legs, of course, as well. So they even have a giant king crab sitting in the tank in the back. So it's actually a really fantastic restaurant. I've actually eaten there before shows at the Coliseum. And what's nice is that they typically are able to book a reservation. Not saying that they're not good. It's just because they have a very large room. They even have an upstairs, which is actually crazy. But this is a really great option if you're trying to find things that are a little bit more doable in terms of pricing, so you can sort of parcel out how you're going to spend your money on that trip. But Water Grill, absolutely fantastic. I don't mention Joe's very often, but Joe's is really, really good. Joe's is a step up. This is if this was going to be like a top tier version of this particular list, it would probably make it on that list, because Joe's is phenomenal, but it can be very pricey. Yeah, Caesars is great in terms of restaurants. I think the reason being is that they have so many celebrity chefs that they all kind of want to be part of the Caesars brand, especially inside of its main hotels. So that's why I think Caesars tends to get the nod when it comes to at least celebrity chefs. The quality is sometimes debatable, but they do have a lot of things to choose from when you do eat at Caesar's Palace. So let's go up to the next level. Let's get to the top tier. This is number one, like you're going to be going on an anniversary, or it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. You're going to Vegas, and this is where you want to go. Right now, everybody wants to see the Sphere, of course. The Sphere is the number one attraction in terms of shows, whether it be an EDM show, whether it be the Eagles, whether it be the Backstreet Boys. The Sphere is it. So important to note that the Sphere is not technically owned by any hotel, so it is actually on its own, but it is connected to the Venetian. So we're going to go to the Venetian for our selection of where the restaurant is going to be. So we're going to have a couple different choices. One of my favorite places, if you want to have like a group, like let's just say this is a group, you guys are all going to go to the Sphere after to see the Backstreet Boys. Let's just say it's like a group of girls. I mean, honestly, I'd eat there. But it is Mott 32. Mott 32, absolutely great for groups. Even if it's just a couple, but groups, it's absolutely phenomenal. I would book in like the Boom Boom Room if it's a smaller group. But if it is a larger, it's like 4 people essentially. But if it's a larger group, they're going to put you in the main dining room, which is just fine. It's really great to share because they do a lot of dim sum. They also do the Peking duck, which you do have to order when you make your reservation. So is it worth it to order the Peking duck? Number one, yes. It is absolutely fantastic. Great for groups up to like 4 to 6 people, depending on how much you're going to eat. You can just pick at it. It's really good. They bring out the pancakes, the XO sauce, which is fantastic and delicious. But people love the dim sum from this place as well. So it's really great for sharing. And I love the Iberico pork that they also have on menu. It's phenomenal. Would highly recommend it. And the cocktail menu is like really divine. So I'd really recommend Mott 32 for groups, or if you're just a couple and you want to go have, a more, Asian inspired evening, Mott 32 is a fantastic choice. So if we don't want to do that, we want to do more traditional sort of dinner, highly recommend Del Monaco. Del Monaco, which is over at the connection between the Venetian and the Palazzo. It is actually in what's called Restaurant Row. They make fantastic steaks, really approachable in terms of pricing for steaks in Las Vegas. Again, note that I said for steaks. I actually enjoy Delmonico more than Cut, which is Wolfgang Puck's restaurant, which many people would say is a superior restaurant, but I think Cut is a little pricey. And the one time I went, I think I was maybe a little bit too tipsy, and I didn't see like the fuss over the price of the steak. So I thought it was fine. But I really enjoyed Delmonico. I've been there multiple times. They do the Caesar salad at the table. They also do really great desserts. They have really good sides. Really enjoy Delmonico's if you want to do steak. If you still want to do steak and you want to get really out of this world, I would recommend Brazzer Meat, which is brand new inside of the Venetian, which used to be at the Sahara. It's not the Venetian. And the room itself is quite the upgrade from what it used to be over at the Sahara. Like, it's really no comparison. It's just so much better. I've never eaten there. Actually, like, this is the thing. Is like, I've never eaten at Brazzer Meat. And I would say if you want to go like avant-garde, something that you've never had before, I would recommend this. But now that I'm sort of talking through it, because I just sort of said it, because, you know, we're trying to go, let's get expensive. You tend to need like a little bit of time to eat at Brazzer Meat, because they do courses. So if you're doing like an 8 o'clock show, you have to be there at like 5 o'clock. Because typically when it gets coursed out, it can be like, you know, a very long dining experience. So I don't know if I would actually do these in the same day. I would actually recommend you end up doing, this is why I didn't recommend like Joe Robuchon. I would recommend doing Brazzer Meat just on its own. So now that I've sort of talked it out, I would say make that like an evening. Don't have somewhere to go after doing both of those experiences. So with that being said, the other option that I recommend, I love, absolutely love Wakuda. I think Wakuda is a fantastic place, especially if you're trying to have like a really nice before show meal, because they do sushi. It's not all you can eat sushi, so you're not going to eat that much. But it's very high quality. You tend to feel a little bit lighter, like if you're going to a place like the Sphere. But love Wakuda at the Palazzo. I really enjoy the Palazzo itself in general. The Wakuda is actually located right near the front desk, and I just always love recommending Wakuda. It's really great. They do have a really cool sushi restaurant, which is new at the Venetian, next to their next to the entrance to Restaurant Row, and it's Japanese, and they actually have a speakeasy in the back, but I haven't experienced that yet. But you'll see it. There's like sort of like a sushi bar, and then right next to the sushi bar, there's a door to go towards the back. So kind of interesting. But I do like to just say, I would just like to say, I really enjoy Delilah's. Delilah's is actually cool because it's actually on there's a like walkway for the conference rooms, and when you go down those conference rooms, it gets you to the outdoor exit, which gets you closer to the Sphere. So it's really great if you just want to end up like walking back there, have a cocktail, and then keep going to the Sphere. I would say it's really great to stop and just have a cocktail. Maybe not like a whole dinner. I would recommend just cocktails is good. So that's on your way to the Sphere, of course. All these options are on the Strip because the Strip is awesome and downtown sucks. No, I'm just kidding, guys. But really, the reason I say that is because most of the theaters and stuff that we're talking about are going to be on the Strip. I just sort of popped into my head. If you are going to the Smith Center, for any of my locals, the Smith Center used to be really difficult to actually find a decent place to have like a pre-show dinner. They do have Vegas Fix, which is actually like a new like restaurant, which is right next to Symphony Park. So you're able to actually go in and actually get a meal before you go in. It's very classic, American cuisine. They also have jazz music, which I've been told on other days, but that's an option that's right close to the Symphony Park. It's actually in Symphony Park itself. From with that option being said, you can go back towards Main Street, which is not too far away a drive to the Smith Center. It's probably, less than 10 minutes. And if you are somebody who's, driving because you're going to the Smith Center, Main Street has many options. They have Jive Turkey if you want something that's a little bit more. People say they love their food, and they also love the actual bar itself. I really enjoy Nocturno. Nocturno will actually do a really nice amount of food. It's very high quality. They do steaks. They can also do cacio e pepe gnocchi, which is very interesting. And then they also have a lot of different options that you can try. They have Brussels sprouts, which are really well known. They have these really awesome chips. I love their chips with their prosciutto. It's phenomenal. So I really like them for like a pre-show drink. I think they're really great. I would also recommend right next to it, they have the Doberman. The Doberman, you are able to eat, you are able to drink there. They do have some food options, caviar and that sort of thing, but not like a full out menu. It's very much like something that's light before like a show. But from there, you do have to take a taxi or Uber or drive to the Smith Center, which love the Smith Center. Love the Smith Center. Whenever you can go to the Smith Center, do it because it is absolutely phenomenal. And I love culture. So I think I covered a lot of those with you guys today. Hopefully that was helpful. I know it was very specific, but I do think that those are really great ideas for if you're coming to Vegas and you needed something that you needed to do like a show or dinner and a show. I think this is a really great sort of like, we're going to narrow it down and figure out what to do together. So thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to follow me on all my socials and message me with any like ideas, or you're coming to Vegas, you need an itinerary, message me, conciergeconfidential_LV, or follow me on my personal Instagram, which is Brian_Ortega26. Oh, and I'm doing more movie stuff on my Substack, which is Your Movie Friend. So make sure you check that out on all of my socials. On the profile page, it'll have the link to that Substack. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. So have a great rest of your week. Hopefully I'll see you, a couple days from now. So remember, if you see me out in town, come up and say hello. Remember, keep it confidential.